Hello everyone, welcome to day 11 of our Python learning journey at Mana Software Patashala. This is Mandeep. Today we are going to learn something very useful, that is how to make our program save and load data using text files. These simple ideas can help you build real-time tools like basic task manager, order to-do list and many more. Let's make coding more practical and fun with step-by-step process. This is the question which I have asked you in a previous session. The answer for that is, in this session, we will learn how Python handles text files. We will also see how to read and write to text files and understand different file mode operations like read, write and append. We will also use the with statement to manage files safely and easily. Finally, we will bring it all together by building a simple and practical to-do list manager using everything we have learned today. Let's dive in. First, let's discuss about reading and writing text files with an example. Imagine you are Suresh, a busy software engineer. You want to maintain your daily to-do tasks in a text file instead of a sticky notes. First, let's create a text file with a file name to.txt. Initially, the file is empty, so we need to use Python to write content to a text file. So let's see how we can do that. This is the boilerplate code in order to write content to the text file. Let's see each method and each line how it works. In order to write content to the text file, first task is that we need to open the text file. In order to do that, there is an inbuilt method called as a open, which helps us to write content to the text file. But it requires two parameters as an input. First one is a text file name and the second one is the mode operation that we want to perform on the text file. As in our case, we want to do a write to the text file, we need to use W. Second, once the file is opened, we can perform any kind of a write operation to the text file. So in order to perform the write operation to the text file, we use file.write, and this is a message or a string that we want to add to the text file. Later, we were adding few more strings. After performing the write operation to the text file, we need to use .close method. This closes the file and saves the content. After execution of this piece of logic, we can notice that the content has been returned to the text file. Similar to writing, we can also perform reading operation on a text file. Let's see what are the code changes that we want to make in order to perform reading operation. The first difference is we have passed W as a second parameter to the open method during write operation. As we need to perform read operation, we need to replace that with R. Second difference is in order to write content to a text file, we have used .write function. Now, as we need to perform read operation on a text file, we need to replace that with .read function. So, this .read function helps to read entire content from a text file. This content would be stored in a content variable. Later, after printing that, we can see the output in the output window. After performing reading operation, we need to use .close function at the last of the logic. This helps to close the instance of a text file. This need to be used while we were performing any kind of a file operation on a text file. Next, let's discuss about different file mode operations with an example. There are many file mode operations that it exists in Python. Let's concentrate on few of those in this session. First one is R. R is for file reading operation. It opens an existing file and let you read its content, but you can't write or change anything in it. Next one, W. W is for writing to a file. It creates a new file or overwrites the existing one completely. So any old content will be lost entirely. Next, A. A is for appending data to the end of the file. It doesn't delete existing content, and if the file doesn't exist, it creates a new one. Next, R plus. R plus let you read and write to the same file without deleting anything, but the file must already exist. Next, W plus. W plus allows both reading and writing, but it first clears the file before writing new content. Next, A plus. A plus is used to read and append at the same time. It adds a new content to the end of the file without removing anything. and creates a file if it doesn't exist already. We have already seen file read and write operation. Now let's concentrate on append operation. For that we need to use character A. So this piece of logic, after executing, it adds check emails content at the end of the file. Let's see by executing this. So if you notice, check emails content has been added at the end of the file. So that is about append file mode operation. Next one is R plus. The R plus mode allows both reading and writing without erasing the existing content. It first reads the entire content, then this seek of zero method, it moves the pointer back to the beginning and prepends a new line. That is, revised meeting time would be added at the starting of the todo.txt file. If I try to execute it, you can notice that revised meeting time has been added at the starting of the todo.txt file. Next one is a double plus mode. So this double plus mode which allows both writing and reading, but it first clears the existing content, then adds the new task to the input file. After writing, the file pointer is at the end of the file. So seek of 0 will move it back to the beginning. Finally, file.read will help to read and print the entire content present in the file. Let's try to execute this logic and see the output. So after executing this piece of logic, you can notice that the entire content which is within the existing file has been cleared out and new task has been added in the todo.txt file. Next one is A plus. A plus allows you to both read from the file and append new content to the existing file. But if the file doesn't exist, it creates a new one. By default, the pointer is positioned at the end. So, if you want to read the file from the existing content before appending it, you need to use seek of 0 to move the pointer to the beginning of the file. Any new data written using write will always be added at the end without affecting the existing content. So, if you execute this file.write of a new task added, this new task added would be added at the end of the file. Let's try to execute and see how it's been behaving. So after executing this piece of logic, we can notice that new task added has been added at the end of the todo.txt file. Next, let's discuss about using with context. Let's see this with an example. The with statement in Python is used for the resource management, especially when you are working with the files. So it automatically opens and closes the file for you even if error occurs inside the block. So without with, you would have to call file.close logic, and if your program crashes before that, the file stays open, which can cause problems. Within this line, todo.txt file opens in a read mode and assigns the file object to a file. So in case if there is any error occurs within these lines, the file closes automatically. That's the advantage of the with context. Next, let's look into a practical example of to-do list manager. Let's see this with an example. This is a mini to-do list program that allows a user to do just one of the two things, that is, view existing tasks and add a new task. Once user performs an action, the program ends with no loops. This line, it asks the user what they want to do. For suppose if a user press 1, it shows all the existing tasks. In case if a user press 2, it allows a user to add a new task. If the user chooses 1, then the program tries to open todo.txt in a read mode. Then it reads out each line and removes the extra new line characters using dot strip method. Later, it prints the task neatly with hyphen in front. For example, if the file doesn't exist, then it shows a friendly message instead of crashing the program. If the user chooses to, the program asks for a new task. Then open sudo.txt in a append mode, which adds a task to the end of the file without deleting the old ones. Later, it writes a task and adds a new line to keep each task on new line. Finally, it confirms the task was added. For suppose if the user enters anything other than one or two, then this message shows up to guide them. Let's try to execute this program and understand in much better way. After executing this program, it asks for few options to provide. If we choose option 1, then it displays all the existing tasks. If we provide option 2, It allows us to add a new task. Let's first try to view if there is any task. So we can see that there are no tasks in exist. So let's try to add a new task. So a new task has been added successfully. Let's try to view it whether it's been added or not. So we can able to see that web app development task has been added successfully. This is the way to manage to-do list. In order to make this session interactive, I have a question for you. Please drop your answers in the comment section. Please like, share and subscribe to Man Software Patashala and stay tuned for more such updates.